big congratulations on your 96th percentile on the GMAT score of 685. You've got a Quant 95th percentile, verbal 84, and data insights 89 percentile. So how do you feel about this score, Shubham?
Thank you so much. Actually, my target was 705 plus actually.
Huh.
So, I mean, not really very delightful of the score, but yeah, I'm satisfied with the score.
You're satisfied. Okay. First of all, big congratulations. Like I said, very interesting profile to start with. You're working for the government of India. So why don't you just give us a little background about what you're doing and how did this entire journey of MBA and what schools were you initially targeting when you started off this journey before you joined Top 1%?
Sure. So actually, currently I'm working with the government of India under this Mission Karmayogi project, which is a project of the Honorable Prime Minister of India to build the capacity building of the civil servants across the nation.
Wow.
Uh, Before joining here, I was consulting with the District Magistrate of Bahraich, Uttar Pradesh, under Niti Aayog's Aspirational District Program. And there I realized that I wanted to do an MBA because I saw certain gaps in the bureaucratic system there, and I realized that okay, what I was doing back then was not enough, given the aspirations that I hold to serve in the nation building endeavor of the government. So I decided to go for GMAT back in uh, 2022, so in June. There I first started with my GMAT preparation, but it did not go well back then. So I pivoted from the GMAT to my current role then, and then I was like being in touch with the preparation. Then in I think April or May 2023, I got to know about Top 1%
Hmm.
and saw a few videos of Sandeep sir, and then I mean, earlier I used to feel okay, a 700 plus score is it's not achievable. Back then I had a 640 GMAT Classic in November 2022 when I gave the exam. So I opted for Top 1%. I was doing full-time job, so it was really, really difficult back then to uh, cope up with, studies as well as job. So I could not give attempt in 2023 because of that. But now again in May 2024, this year, when I got to know about this intensive batch for GMAT Focus, then I was like, okay, I mean, no matter what, अब तो निकालना ही है, अब तो करना ही है. So then I joined this again. I joined this live June batch, intensive batch of Top 1%, and I went like head on for my GMAT trip.
Right.
So
A little
that's
bit,
how.
a little bit more on the previous part, which is I mean, what you initially started. So what
Yeah.
you considered a bureaucratic gap to what did you think? Where would you want to make it? Like, why did you think an MBA was important at the time? What did you think you want? What MBA arsenal were you looking for? Like, what did you
Mhm.
want to be equipped with? And where did you see
Mhm.
yourself getting that? I mean, you wanted to do it within India itself or outside India, MBA? How was the journey that you were looking at in your head?
Sure. So actually, during my time with the administration there, I I mean somehow through the internet I got in touch. I got to know about various ISB alums and IIM Ahmedabad alums as well who have been working in government consulting space. So there I got to know about government consulting, and then I got to understand. Okay, there is much bigger things that I could do if I do an MBA rather than serving at district level. I can go at the national level as well. I can work with big consulting, working directly with the senior bureaucrats and government functionaries. So then I thought, okay, I'll also target the Indian schools only because I do not really want to go abroad and like work abroad. I want to work in the country itself. And so, yes, that's why Indian schools are my target only.
Perfect, perfect. I mean, that's always great. But I'm not denying you from looking at the school, but always consider the outside school because then you get to also look at, what's happening in the different part of the world. You get to know their insights and then get those things back into the country and then implement them. That's another level of things because, I can at least vouch for that when we've seen someone, at least I've seen
Yeah, sure.
personally looking at some district, official working for small cities and then what changes that they are making as a consultant, and then they come and then how could you leverage that kind of an experience back? So always consider bigger options and then you can really bring that back to our country too,
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, yeah, totally agree.
I mean, we can connect about this later offline. I'm very excited when when I hear people from the government sector, especially you're working very close to the Honorable Prime Minister. Johnny, I would definitely want to consider talking to you separately, but more on your GMAT canvas, let's say, right? So, if you would like to describe your entire journey from the very beginning, like you've had an experience of giving, or at least you knew about GMAT and you've given the the exam. What was the most difficult section, and how did you go about it? And now that you had DI also, where did it play a
Hmm.
part? Was it in the difficult side of things, or was it in the easier side of things for you?
Yeah, so I mean, in the classic version, I was very scared of sentence correction part, to be really honest. But when the GMAT focus came, I was very relieved. Okay, now sentence correction has gone, and that was my, I mean, major challenge in the GMAT. And apart from it, like when I started preparing for Focus Edition as well, initially I used to think, okay, verbal I can do, quant I need a lot of practice. But after going through the intensive course, I mean, I managed the quant part really well when I gave my first mock after like finishing the intensive batch preparation material. But still, I was struggling with verbal, so I did not know what went wrong. So it was a shock initially. But then I again went back to the preparation material. I was the marathon videos of primary purpose and inference marathon videos. I was those. I improved my RC score when I gave another mock. And then when I was struggling with critical reasoning, I again went back to the material. I again did all those CR questions very, very diligently, looking at each answer choice, like which is correct, which is incorrect, and why it is incorrect. So slowly and steadily, I built that competency of mine in RC and CR because quant from the very first mock that I took, I was like, okay, I'm sorted with quant. I just need to, uh, work on my silly mistakes, be more careful solving quant questions. And DI, if I talk about, because in my current job as well, a lot of data analysis is required. And I have a math background. So I mean, pretty much um, comfortable with graphs and charts and analyzing data. But yeah, the tricky part was analyzing it quickly seeing those patterns in the questions and get to the answer, get to the root. So there I worked through the official questions. I did all the official questions. I did not touch any unofficial questions from anywhere. Uh, so for yeah, DI, that strategy worked, I think.
Right. So my next question is completely based on a few of the conversation that I've been having with some students this morning, and they're struggling with reading comprehension. So I would like to
Hmm.
like you to take a dig on this, which means it has been a longer journey for you to even be a part of intensive math. It means it's been longer than what you started.
Yeah.
So how exactly were you also struggling with either with the time? Let's say you get an accuracy, you're improving, okay, but when it comes to giving it within the time limit, were you struggling then? Or how did you really build on the accuracy plus giving it within the time? Can you break it down? What were the challenges? Did you see like a stagnant point at some point? How did this graph, like which was stagnant, then took off for you when it came to reading comprehension?
Hmm. So initially, when I was doing the RC passages, I was not very much focused on being fast. I was like, okay, let's just first build this competence, build the skills of analyzing RC passages. So I took my time. Whenever I used to practice the LSATs and official RC questions. I used to spend a lot of time in, seeing those connections and seeing those parts where Sandeep sir has, told ki you should look at the key contradiction locations, the octave. So I used to apply that diligently without looking at the timer. So that was my initial, way I tackled the RC. And later on, I mean, after solving multiple, I mean, I might have done hundreds of RCs. So slowly and steadily, I built that, eye for an RC passage. Where I could see, okay, what is going on in the passage. I could quickly see and then quickly go to the question and again come back to verify and eliminate the answer choices.
Right. So you saw progress somewhere. Were you stuck at some point? Ki, nahi, I'm applying Octave, but it's just not applying. Did you have that phase at all?
I mean, definitely. I mean, in my first official mock that I gave, I think I got a 605. Then second mock that I gave, I got a 585.
Right.
So after first two official mocks, I was like, okay, I am doing RC and CR, but I am not improving much. So there, by the time I haven't done the marathon videos, to be honest. So uske baad I went back to the material. I did those marathon videos, those primary purpose inference marathon videos. I solved them. Took a lot of time solving them because by that time I was feeling frustrated. Okay, I have done so much and still I'm not improving.
Right.
And I hardly had a month left to my GMAT deadline that I have set for myself.
Correct.
But I was like, okay, let's do these marathon videos. Let's do them religiously and let's not think about timing right now. Let's again go back to the basics. So again, when I did those videos, so I think they have helped somewhere and that showed in the result as well. Uh, then, I mean, something happened and my RC accuracy improved from that stage onwards.
Right. Perfect. Now coming to your point where you said your job was very, very demanding, right? So how were you juggling between the GMAT preparation and your commitment to the work? How did
Mhm.
you manage and carve out, specific time? Because GMAT is also very demanding that way. So two demanding
Right.
things, and how did you manage that time to make sure that you get done with GMAT this time around?
Mm. Actually, the one of the major challenges that I faced was because I spend like almost 4 hours on road every day
Oh,
to travel from work to home. I live in Faridabad, the job is in Delhi, so 4 hours is gone in travel only, in the traffic, in metro, and all that.
yeah,
So in like before taking up the intensive prep, I shifted to Delhi nearby my office only for a brief period and I saved those 3 4 hours of travel. So my office was like just 10 minutes from there.
I see.
So that way I saved the time and invested in the preparation. And also I utilized my I think leaves properly very well. So whenever I felt like okay I need to go very intensive in this phase, then there I took utilize those leaves and manage the time. So that way I think it
Very
happened.
smart move. A lot of sacrifices, but for the better things, right?
Yeah.
Could you just reflect on the test day experience and even, just before the test day, like how many mocks did you take? You mentioned already that you'd got a 605, 585, but what was your last mock? And when did you actually decide that this is the time that I would like to now give GMAT? And what happened in the test day? What was the order of your section that you chose? Why did you choose that order? And were there any kind of shock value in the exam?
Mm. So section order initially I was doing verbal, quant, and DI because I was feeling okay, I can start with verbal when I get some level of comfort, then I go to quant and then data interpretation. But then after like having a conversation with my GMAT buddy, so I was preparing with a friend, and so her idea was okay, she does quant first to warm up herself, and then the verbal, and then DI. So when I tried that method, I was like, okay, this is working pretty well compared to verbal content DI. So then I stick to that verbal content DI part. And on the test day, so actually my initial deadline was 10th of August for
Hmm.
the GMAT. But by the 10th of August, I was getting 615 score.
Okay.
In my third official mock. So then I had to postpone it to 31st of August, my exam. So I had just those 20 days to prepare more. And in those 20 days, I took two more mocks, initially around 15th or 17th August, and then just 2 or 3 days before the exam. So the mock five that I took, I think I got a 695 score. Yeah. So I was like, okay, now I'm set with the mock thing. And so I did not book my exam till the time I got that score.
Oh,
I
wow.
booked the exam on 27th or 28th August only.
Okay.
And because I knew that I am in that momentum and I don't want to lose that momentum. So I give the mock, get a score, and then only I booked the exam. I did not want to take any risk that time. So I on 31st August when I took the exam, actually exam hall, I mean it was in terms of questions, I did not face any challenge, but in the environment I faced quite a lot of challenge. It was very disturbing that day for some reason. People around me were just speaking out loud questions, so I got very bothered. I had to call the person to shut the other people up. So, but I think that also affected my score a bit. I was getting voices from across the walls from other offices, even the earplugs were not working some way. So then I think, and also I did some mistakes earlier in the quant section as well. I don't know why it happened. Maybe it was just bad luck that day. So on that exam, I got a 665.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I can do better. 665 is not my level after seeing 695 in the mock 5. And I saved one official mock for that purpose only, that anything could go wrong. I just have to save that one mock so that, I can utilize that if things did not go as per my plan. And my fear came true, that happened. Then I again use because official material I have much left with me. So I have verbal questions. Quant, I was short on official questions. So I took the sectional mocks of Quant from top portal to keep them to keep up that momentum in Quant, because otherwise I would have lost touch with the Quant topics, and that that to come up quickly with the solutions. So I think that really helped. And apart from it, during that time I also uh, took the practice that Manhattan prep. There's one CR PDF of Manhattan in the top material, so I utilized that as well to polish my CR skills a bit more, because I knew that I have some gaps in verbal section. So the next time on 17 September when I took the exam, so again like 2 days back, maybe 14th or 15th September, I took the mock 6, got a 675, I think. And then I was like, okay, now I'm set. 675 is good, and exam day I can anyways do better than 675.
Right.
So
So tell me one
then I
thing.
took the exam, and then Quant, I was very careful this time, and luck also favored me. This time I got a separate room in the exam center, no disturbance at all. But otherwise, as well, the exam center was quite empty. So no external disturbances
Disturbance,
was
yes.
there.
Because we just made like one of the things that we've been seeing this, and it's very common in all the exam center. Either the exams are getting cancelled, and students have to travel from one city to other city. All these extra environmental factor, the keyboard is unnecessarily there, or these noise, they should really have. I mean, back 10 years ago, when during our institution, like where our institute was in Bangalore, there was another Pearson's office. They would actually provide like a noise cancellation,
Hmm.
headphones.
Big
Especially, I
headphones, yeah.
recall this during this Diwali time, they there used to be firecrackers, and this one student is giving his exam, and he's like, "No, I said," and then he gives his exam and comes back to the institution, and he says, "Well, I just gave my GMAT." I said, "How could you? I mean, I and you can't have a conversation. How could you just give the exam?" And he said, "No, the
Hmm.
headphones were sorted." But nowadays, a lot of things are missing out, and that's what is very bothering. And we made like an Instagram reel to, the things that you have to be prepared for, those laminated sheets sometimes, prepared with that, right, in the exam
Yeah, sure,
environment,
definitely, yeah.
right?
And
So,
even those noise cancellation headphones were, they're quite big and quite uncomfortable. Even when you put it, your ears will start hurting after some time.
that's another factor also. We have to let everyone know, because unless you don't, that's why mock exam or mock test is essentially a mocking the exam. And that way we
Yes.
have to really mock everything, even the environment, consider some loud noises. So
Hmm.
you have to do that simulation as well. We try very hard to kind of help people to simulate those things as well. We try to put that, but I think this is one of the things that I'll also add it in the list. So
Right.
tell
So
me about this.
I used to do the same thing. I mean, whenever I try to make sure that whenever I give my mock exams, I try to simulate as close as the environment conditions as I can. So the timing that I used to give my mocks, the energy levels at that time, in the afternoon time, and the surrounding distractions as well. I used to make sure that all were there during my
Right.
mock preparation as well, so that I can learn to focus on the exam despite of those disturbances.
Very important, very important. Glad that you shared that. So, a quick highlight on the mock portal, top mock portal, if you did utilize, and the help that you got from the faculty, and including Sandeep sir's intensive batch. Could you just highlight how did it really help you in the last leg of your preparation?
Yeah, so actually I only took the initial mocks, like first full length mock from the top portal, and in my like first focus exam, before my first focus exam. But after my first attempt of 31st August, then I think I utilized the top portal more, because I wanted to keep that momentum with my quant and my verbal. So initially, I was just focusing on the official questions, because I had a lot of official questions left during before my first mock exam. Sorry, first official exam. So I was completely focused on official questions during that time, for verbal, for DI, for quant. But I was like consumed all of the questions of Quant after my first official exam. So before my second exam, I utilized the top portal for the quant sectional mostly, and maybe one or two verbal as well, because verbal is quite lengthy in the top. So if I knew that if I could manage the verbal from the top, then I can manage verbal in the actual exam as
Right. Amazing. And any highlight on the support? Did you get a chance to speak to any of the faculty or even Sandeep sir during the intensive batch?
Intensive batch, though, of course. I mean, there were live sessions, so there were a lot of queries going on. So sometimes I ask, sometimes some other person asks. So it really helps when someone asks. So your doubts also gets cleared during that time. But apart from that, I mean, I did not really feel the need to specially reach out to someone for any support, because everything was already there in the material,
Mm.
and I was very clear that okay, nobody can help me except my own self.
Right.
So I use those like guiding lights or which were provided in the material itself, and then course corrected myself.
Right. So, very last question. If you were to create a GMAT survival kit for the future test takers, what are the do's and the don't list items that you would like to add so that they get the score within a short span and also, get it to the very first attempt?
So yeah, actually, what I have seen is people are good uh, in their mocks and in attempting questions when they are in a relaxed environment. But when they get in the exam hall, something when their mind get disturbed, they get very anxious, and so I feel that it's all about the mindset. If during the preparation stage and even if at the exam center, if someone can have that mindset, okay, I can do it. Whatever is going wrong right now, whatever is going wrong in this particular moment, I can do it. So I think that is the only thing I can suggest to the test takers, because after giving my first 2 3 official mocks, when I was not getting beyond 615 score, I was very disappointed on myself. But I also had that you know talwar over my neck that okay, I have to do it anyway,
Right,
whatever be it. I mean, even if I take another 2 weeks, but I have to do it.
right.
So I have that urgency. So you have to create that urgency and you have to set a deadline and then work toward that deadline with a clear mindset that okay, whatever is wrong today, I can definitely improve in next 2 days, next 3 days, or next within a week.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I mean, given that, there are so many things to take away. Key takeaway one, your work commitments. There is nothing like you can take a break. You utilized those breaks whenever you did or holidays very well. You did sacrifice your commute time and then, you shifted to a city, made a very smart move. You also spoke about, the mindset and more importantly, that commitment, because then otherwise it's very easy to get swayed by the other projects, and the projects are umpty number, especially in the government. कितना कुछ करना पड़ता
Right.
है. There's like everything keeps getting added on. So and some people are dealing with very small project, but then some people are dealing with multi projects. And given all that, you still maintain that it's a very very it's a sign of एक बार they commit कर लिया, then
कर लिया तो फिर लिया,
that
right.
dialogue, right? So but then there's this last question that I do have, because then you mentioned about the GMAT buddy. Tell me how did the GMAT buddy, whoever it is, help you, or rather, particularly was very impactful during your preparation? Did you rely on asking questions, or were you in the same phase of your preparation?
Yeah, so actually, we both were in the same phase of preparation, of course. So that is only, when you can prepare with somebody. Otherwise, if you have a person who is on a different level with you, then you won't be able to prepare with that person. And it really helps because otherwise, it's a very lonely journey. I have the experience of my civil services examination preparation days. I was doing it all alone. I had no one to talk about my exam prep, and I had no one to vent out to, but I knew that okay, a GMAT buddy would really help. So we both were in the same phase. We used to share questions with each other, of course. That if I could not do a particular question, I would share with her. If she could not do a particular question, she would share with me. And then we discussed, we brainstormed, okay, why something worked, why something is not working. And otherwise, as well, whenever we get a poor score, we used to vent out to each other. Whenever we get bored of studies, we again was like, okay, this is not working and all. So we, keep pushing each other up during this phase. So I think that really helps when you have someone to push you further when you think that you won't be able to do it.
Fantastic. Because that top 1% also will really, really push the idea of the GMAT buddy, because that is like we say, it is a very lonely journey. We are there as a facilitator, but not, sometimes the students will not take the opportunity to consider us as an accountability partner, and they want someone who is going through the same grill and preparation.
Yeah.
So that's great. Good to highlight. Thank you so much for sharing all these experience. Your insights were incredible, to say the least, I would say. But here's to wishing you all the very best. I'm sure ISB IIMs is an easy piece of cake with this score, right? But really, I would like to
I
connect
really hope.
outside of these, schools as well, to just give you a little highlight on what are the possibilities. Beyond this, we are all extremely proud and very grateful that you've considered top 1% and Sandeep sir over and again in your preparation and through your journey. Sandeep sir is extremely proud of you. Any message to him that you'd like to
Thank you
share?
so much. I mean, I put up a post on LinkedIn as well,
Okay.
thanking him. So, I mean, it was really because of him, because the belief that he, lightened inside me that, okay, I can achieve 99 percentile. It's not really a very big deal.
Right.
So, looking at those examples, hearing him, and it really like pushed me. It really helped in pushing me toward the goal. So, I mean,
Right.
Katina, if you aim for the stars, I mean, if you aim for the moon, you'll land up among the stars.
Right.
So maybe the aiming for the moon was 99% and landing up among the stars is 96. Yeah.
But you'll still go to the moon, which is at the moment your goal is to go to ISB or IIMs. That will still happen. So, but here's to wishing you an incredible future. And really, we'll stay connected, hoping to see, great things. I mean, I am very, very excited to see someone coming from this journey, the background that you have. And then, there's so much more possibilities, right? And I'd love to stay connected to see how you progress, and really wishing you a very bright future. Very
Thank you
good.
so much.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much for
much.
joining me. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye bye.